Greetings and good day. Recently, I released a video about wildfires.
The wildfire season is here again, oh no.
Today, we're going to have a little look behind the scenes for that wildfire music video. So here we are inside Unreal Engine where the magic happens. We could see our fire truck right here, some trees, the landscape, and the planes that my video footage is on. Not sure why they're showing up as planes right now. But anyways, so I just want to take you a little bit through the scene in Unreal, how to get this kind of scenes set up. And a lot of this stuff is actually fairly simple once you know where all the buttons are. But for example, like this right here, this whole thing, this landmass is a landscape I built within Unreal. It's pretty easy. I'll go over to like a portion over here where I'm not going to mess it up. Not that I'm going to be using this project anymore, but we can go into this landscape mode. And then we have all these brushes and we just start like moving the land up and down. It's pretty cool stuff just to move the land like that. And then for like all these little things down here, like little bits of like dead trees or like all this little bits of ferns and plants and rocks and all that stuff. It's all listed under foliage. So kind of the same thing. I have a bunch of different assets I made or I imported, such as these ferns. So if I say, hey, I want to paint some ferns and we're in the foliage mode, I make my little brush here a little bit smaller. I don't need that many ferns. And poof, look at this. We're drawing some ferns. You know, could turn up the density too, so making more ferns. But anyway, yeah, that's basically how I set up the scene in terms of just all the static things that aren't really moving, like the land and the ferns and the bushes and all that good stuff. Now, for the fire truck, that was a little bit different. I had to jump into some programming. To get the fire truck moving, I made this thing called a spline, which is this line that's kind of going up and down the screen. And basically, anyway, I programmed the fire truck to follow said spline just all the way across. Now, within the fire truck, I also have some elements like the wheels are their own objects that are just always rotating. I brought in this little spinny doodad, the siren, that's what that thing's called, on top of the fire truck, which is also just rotating all the time. And then within this blueprint of the fire truck, I have these planes, and I haven't opened this project since I rendered it out. I'm not sure why they're rendering as white planes at the moment. But I basically set these up to be my green screen footage video plates that I shot, each one being like vocals is on the right side, the guitar's on the left, and the drums is in the back. You can see the third one is back there. And yeah, had the video playing, and that's pretty much it for that. The biggest problem actually for getting these video planes to render was because I had shot in 4K trying to get footage that has an alpha channel. So it's not, pure white. You can see through, basically just getting rid of the green. So there's a transparency channel. Having 4K footage play with transparency was slugging my computer down. Even with just one clip, it was bugging things out. Things just didn't seem like they were working. I finally found out when you're importing an image sequence, you get this lovely little window here. You get to tell it where your sequence is. You can tell what frame rate it is. But something I wasn't using was this Proxy Override. So the Proxy Override takes whatever footage you have and reloads a smaller version in. So I had to re-render out a version of my 4K, PNG sequence. I had to re-render that out to be a much smaller resolution, like 480p or something like that, just so the computer wouldn't struggle when it's playing back. So then I set up the proxy to look at that folder. I just made a folder called low res within this folder right here, and it loaded the proxy for playback, which it fixed everything. I thought there was a bug in Unreal 5, and I was seeing other people were having bugs importing media and just not having any playback. And I was having seemingly the same issues, but apparently it was just because I was not using the proxy, because that's a lot of information for the computer to try to read off my hard drive, especially since my hard drive I'm running off of is not a solid state. That does not help the cause for loading things faster. Anyway, so yeah, after I got all that set up, I then made a sequence. So here's my music video sequence. Let that load up. Hey, there's all the me's. Another thing is when I wanted the media, so all the green screen versions of me to play back within Sequencer, I had to make this media track and basically just edit them to say, hey, I want you to be the right media texture. Yeah, that was pretty much it. So that's probably why the green screen versions of myself, the video clips, weren't showing just a minute ago, because I have to be in Sequencer for it to know where to play things. So yeah, you can see as we're scrubbing through the Sequencer, the fire truck is moving. The Mii's are having a hard time playing right now a little bit. It's not playing in real time, probably because I don't have those proxies set up. So we're looking at the full 4K resolution of these media textures. Oh, the fire and the trees. I forgot to mention these, since these aren't static. The trees on fire are just blueprint classes I made, just with a tree. And a blueprint class is just a container that can store code and combining things. So basically all I did, this doesn't have any code. All I did was import the tree as one model and then import the fire as another model. So you got the fire and the tree all kind of going at once, and the smoke all in one thing. And then I just started copying and pasting these guys all over the place, as you can see. While I was editing the camera shots, which, by the way, here in Sequencer, here's where your camera shots are. This will lock you to the camera. So this is the actual camera shots that I used for the music video. You can see it switching all the different shots here. Anyway, as I was making these camera cuts, I had noticed I had done something not so smart. A lot of these fire trees I actually had on the left side over here. Like if we're staring at where the fire truck is going is the front, this side is the right, and this side is the left. I had a bunch of like trees over here that were on fire because I was just trying to like fill out the scene. But I didn't realize that because I'm using just 2D footage shots like this, and I don't want to like get an angle like this where the Mii's are, paper thin, and you can tell that it's just a 2D plane. It kind of ruins the illusion. I realized, oh yeah, I'm gonna have all my shots looking at them pretty much from the straight on, maybe a little bit from down here, because you can get away with, ruining some of that perspective and parallax to a degree. So anyways, I realized, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on this side all the entire time. And as I was making my camera shots as the fire truck was moving, I would notice that I would be inside some of these trees that were on fire, and then you would just see just the fire just taking over the entire screen, and that was no good. While I was making the camera edits, I kind of had to go back to reorganizing the landscape a bit and move some of these trees over off to this side so the camera wouldn't be in these fiery trees. And that's kind of the magic of working in a 3D and virtual environment. Like if I was to be out on location trying to shoot this in real life, well, first of all, that would suck trying to shoot, trees on fire. Probably wouldn't do that. But I have the option to just move assets of the environment wherever I want if it's in the way. It's good stuff. Something else I noticed I haven't talked about yet are the sky color and the post-processing. So the sky color is kind of like red. It's not, this nice blue color. I wanted to make it dreary, needed to match the dreariness of being in wildfire season. So we have all this kind of just smoky, dreary looking, something bad's going to happen feel. And all that was figured out with the directional light, and I believe it's the skylight. The directional light, you can change the light of the sun, or where the sun's coming from. If you press Control L, you can see the shadows kind of moving. So anyway, it was I'll just undo that. it was a bit of tinkering, moving the sunlight to be in just the right spot because sometimes it would be too dark to where it was nighttime, and other times it was just too bright daytime. Didn't want that. Wanted something in between. And then here's the sky sphere. I think this might be what it is. I changed the cloud color to be like this kind of orangish reddish color. Okay, so yeah, that's the sky color. That was a important thing. Now the post processing actually added a lot. And so the post processing handles bloom and lens flare. So if I turn this off, we could see things just look much more clear, which isn't always a good thing because real life isn't always as clear. So post processing on just adds bloom and some of those lens flares. The lens flares are really nice. I thought they might be kind of annoying, but even when like if I'm like let's say we're looking at me and the lens flare kind of gets in the way. I don't know. That's still kind of a cool effect. I was worried about it like being too much, but I still like it. It's a cool effect. So post processing just adds these post processes down here. There's just tons. There's bloom, which makes things all bloomy. Don't know how to explain bloom. Kind of like a glow effect. An exponential height fog. This is another huge one. I needed fog. Without this fog, like you could see in the background here, things again are just like way too clear. But with this exponential height fog, things kind of get like misty and foggy like back there. You could tell. Turn it on, things are just like super clear. No way. If we're in wildfire season, we need to have this fog because it's kind of like emulating like smoke in my eyes. Would have been cool to actually make like some ground smoke in a lot of places, but I was already running into a lot of other technical difficulties, so I didn't want to add on to the potential frustration and potentially break things even further. So that's it. You all know the depths and the secrets of what into making this wildfire video. Stick around for the next one, and I'll catch you next time.